a watercolor artist, and I'm going to show you how I take my watercolor paintings, scan them, and clean them up in Photoshop. The first thing I do is I create several scans. I usually don't try to use the entire scanner bed for my piece. I want to make sure that corners aren't knocked off, that there aren't any shadows from my pressing the paper and squeezing it into that flatbed of the scanner. So I've created two files for my 9x12 image here, my Merry Christmas card. I put my two files together, my two scans. You see the left, you see the right. And now the next thing to do is to put them together. I'm making the top file on the image mode multiply so that I can slide them together and be able to see how they would match up perfectly. I'm zooming in a lot and making sure that everything looks perfect. I couldn't find the zoom tool. I'm so used to using my keystrokes. There we go. And I'm going to free transform, hit Command T or go up to Edit and free transform. That's just above that there. And I'll twist, I'll shift, I'll just make sure that these two layers are perfectly aligned. I have to zoom out a lot too to be able to transform so that my handles to be able to transform are on the outside. I can't just transform it when I'm zoomed in, but then I zoom in to make sure that I see, and I zoom out. A lot of times when it seems like it's really off, all it takes is a little shift and moving up with the arrows or moving down or side to side. You'd be surprised at how far just a little shift goes. I want to make sure that this looks perfect because there's nothing that'll tip someone off that this piece had a lot of Photoshop work done to it than just a blur on the lines or anything like that. I think that's looking pretty good. Examine everything. If you want to know the keystrokes for zooming in and out, it's Command or Control plus and minus. Now that it looks good, I'm going to go ahead and create a quick mask. So I hit the Command or Control button, click on the layer, and it'll select that layer. Go down and create a quick mask from that icon that has a circle in the middle. The reason why I do that is so that I am only seeing here in my black and white, I can see in my thumbnail what exactly is my piece and what is not. Now I'm using the lasso tool to cut out essentially the pieces to make my puzzle fit perfectly. I selected that. I'm going to select inverse and fill that with black. Black in that quick mask is what is not visible, and white is what is visible. Crop it in, and there's my piece all put together. A quick little keystroke that I really like to use a lot is Command Alt Shift E all at the same time, and it creates a new layer with everything that's visible in your layers palette so that I can work off a new layer and have my raw layers underneath, but my new layer on top has everything put together into one. I'm cropping this in one more time. This is not something that you need to do, but since I do greeting cards, it needs to be 5x7. And there is my top layer, my 5x7 image of my original 9x12 that was scanned in two pieces put together. Now the next thing we're going to do is to clean this up. My quick and dirty tool is the levels palette, and then I just use that white ink dropper to hit the whitest white, and boom, it makes the contrast perfect. It creates correct tones. If the scanner was a little off on the blue or the yellow or the pink, magenta, and it's looking pretty bright, but I've got a lot of things to clean up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer just like I did before. Each step of the way I'm creating a new layer with that quick and dirty trick of Command-Alt-Shift-E, where I merge all the visible layers into one and create a new layer. I also created a white layer underneath, because what I'm going to do now is with the magic wand tool, and I'll play around with the tolerance up there. I like to use 30 when I'm blacking out or trying to knock out all that white space. It's a pretty good number to go to. And I'll select that, but then I'll also use my lasso tool, and while holding down the shift button, we'll go in and circle, select, include all of the pieces that that magic wand wasn't picking up on. The magic wand chose everything that was white, or within that 30% tolerance. But with my lasso tool, I can actually use my eyes and select what I know I don't want to be visible. So what I'm going to eventually do is delete all this white so that the white of the paper is actually a white layer and it's nice and clean. Now this takes me quite a while to go in and select every little cranny that's left of the watercolor. You might like to leave some of those lighter washes in. That's totally understandable. It just depends on your style. For my application with greeting cards, bold is good, and so I try to get rid of little kind of straggly pieces, I guess, that don't go with the design of my card. I'm zooming in with that Command plus shortcut. I'm scrolling around on my trackpad, and again, holding down the shift button while I'm lassoing, I'm selecting what needs to be included in actually the deletion of this piece. There it is. I think I'm ready to hit the delete button. Now, instead of deleting, what I did was I selected the inverse. So I selected all the white and then I inverted, and then I created a quick mask so that that layer still has that information, but it's hidden by the quick mask. And as you can see, now that background, I can play with it. I can make it green, I can make it black, I can make it white. I can do whatever I'd like with it because I've gone in and taken out all of the background. As the final tool, I'm going to use the stamp tool and take out all those little pieces of maybe paint that kind of gathered together on my piece. Sometimes dry paint works itself into my painting. And so I'll hit the Alt button to select what I want the stamp tool to mimic, and then I will brush in with that same stamp tool, but not hitting the Alt button this time, to copy what is on that again. So I'm taking again from the upper left or so and dragging down so that what information is up there and something that's similar is covering up whatever blemish I want to cover up. Looking around, I'm constantly looking around on my piece to make sure that I have taken care of all the little pieces. And here I saw that I missed a spot. I took the brush tool and painted with black onto the quick layer mask. Again, black is an area, it means that it's something that's not going to be visible. I'm going in with my brush, making it smaller or larger using the brackets on the keyboard. I think it's looking good, but you know what? I have a quick and dirty trick to find out what is left behind. I'll take that layer and add a stroke with usually a garish color that is not part of the piece, something that would really stick out. So this bright magenta sticks out, make the stroke thicker, and boom, I can see all the parts that are part of this layer. So it's outlining, it's stroking all of the outlines, and I'm noticing that it's outlining parts that I actually don't want to be part of my piece. So I'm going in, I'm on the quick mask mode. If you see on that layer, I've selected that black and white icon. I'm adjusting my brush sizes, and I'm basically just going to paint in black anything that I don't want to be part of that layer. That's not really an outline. So it's outlining little itty bitty specks, and they become so much more visible when I do this trick of putting a stroke of purple or orange or something that really sticks out on it. And it becomes kind of like a game where I'm zapping all the little spots out. And sometimes if I kind of get carried away and I delete something that I want to keep, I'll just hit the undo button, Command Z, Control Z, and try it again. When I discovered to do this, it just shaved off so much time and so much guesswork from what is, a speck on my piece and what's a speck on my laptop screen. This way I can see it very clearly, and I can just get rid of them very quickly. These are probably really small specks on the paper, whether it's dirt, whether it's just a little bit of grain in the paper, or a little drop of paint. They might not be visible to the naked eye, but I want to make sure that I have a very clean scan. If I want to put a background on this, those little specks would show up. Now I'm going to keep it white because I think that looks good, but knowing that this could be blown up to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times bigger, and these what seem like insignificant little blemishes would show much bigger. It's just such a relief to not even think that, to know that these won't be visible. Oops, we'll try that again. And I'm not super nitpicky. Sometimes you see bumps on those letters because that's the curvature of the line, and the paint is bleeding into the paper in such a way where it's not going to be a straight line, and it's a pull and push of a beautiful traditional medium used in the digital realm. I saved it. I'm good to go. That top layer is really all I need, and I have my 5x7 very clean Merry Christmas card with a clean white background, and it still looks bright and hand painted.